I had a notice a little late today, so hello, hello, someone. I anyway. Well, let's. I wanted to talk about uh, researching watches and sources of research, and I'm gonna depend on you guys as much as myself on this. So uh, we'll get started right away because there's so many. Hi, John. How you doing? Um, I think. Hi, Vladimir. I I I think probably um, movement database. Yeah. What's the name of that? That's what's watchbase.com. That I think is the number one online source for it. Um, another one, a really good one. It's sometimes they're very adumbrated almost. Is WatchWiki. Watch.wiki. They will have some really interesting stuff. That was how I found out that the Soprod A10 was really based on the Seiko 4F, I guess, F4, something like that. And so, there's a lot of stuff there that, it's not my first choice. Um, but often it's the last resort, and it's the only one. I should have been my first resort on some. Hi, Junior. Good to see you. So anyway, so those are. How about you guys? John mentioned watchbase.com. I think that's what you're talking about. There's another one by this guy called Ralph, RALFF, something like that. Hi, Lee. Hi, Imperial. Imper- Imperium Dex or something like that. You got to make it simple for me. Don't catch on to everything. Um, there's a hi lead for if you want to research something or watch. Where do you usually go? Um, there's I'm trying to think. There are places there, especially online video that I rely on, but usually it's sort of like, well, I want to find out something today, and the guy that does the watch show from the guy, the Swiss guy, he does a really good job, and he talks to different people and so forth. I think he is probably the best source for sort of not necessarily the technical nitty gritty, but sort of an overall view of things. Yeah, watch base is a favorite of mine. A lot of times when I don't see something on watch base, I automatically get suspicious. Like, okay, if they had if they had their own movement, wouldn't they want to put it on watch base? And my answer is yeah, they would like to put it on watch base. Watches TV. That's the one I was thinking of, Junior. That one for a good overall one. Um, a guy that I really like a lot is Tim Mosso. But Tim, I think, is he can make every watch in the world like great. Like you look at it and here's a watch and he goes into it and he has all the details of it. But it's I I admire Tim Mosso's stuff. First of all, because I think it's accurate, and I think it's an honest review of it. But he does it in such a way that I want to buy everything he talks about. So I don't know. I usually try to find something. If I'm looking for something on a watch, I usually try to find something that is text, and the reason for it is a lot of videos you have to sort of hunt and peck, and they're hard to find things. Another favorite of mine is Quill and Pad. I really like Quill and Pad. They have some great ones. Um, the Horological Society of New York. That's another one. By the way, let me say this again. If if you don't, I highly recommend the Horological Society of New York because, among other things, you get a free subscription. And Europa Star has some great articles. A lot of the stuff is definitely promotion for for one watch or another. But they have a lot of good stuff. This is just an advertisement, but in addition, they have a lot of other ones like this editorial on what they call industrial, a dirty word. Well, that's a good. I mean, the way they put it and the way they talk about it, I think is worth knowing about. And then they got a good index. But the thing of it is, it's free. It's really free. Let me talk about another one that is some of you may have. This one, the Patek Philippe. If you ever owned a Patek Philippe, um, you can get a subscription to their magazine simply by telling them about your watch and telling them you want a subscription to their magazine. I've long ago sold my my Calatrava, but I still got the magazine, and it's still. I said, oh boy, I really like to have this watch or that watch. Of course, the ones that I really care about are all before um, 2009 when they started stuffing those blasted silicon hairsprings in them. I know. Okay, enough about that. But those are a couple magazine sources. Now, one is this may seem like a funny source. This is a book called "Watch Repairing as a Hobby." Okay, and this was first published in 1948. But the thing about it is that they've got, it's simple, it's inexpensive, and it's not so much about watch repairing. Well, it is about watch repairing, but more importantly, you can learn a lot about watches. I mean, like I said, this was came out in 2004 with but it's a reprint from a 1948 when I mean, they were like seriously. What I was looking for here. They have things like this. This is a great. You want to know about a gear train and how it works. This is the same way that a just about any mechanical watch still works. Now they may have some improvements somewhere in here with the materials or the springs or something, but it's inexpensive. It's just a few bucks. I got it on Amazon. It's called Watch Repairing as a Hobby, and so it's got a lot of information in there. This this book is sort of a classic, George Daniels Watchmaking. Now, the thing about this book that is good, it's got a great index. I don't know if anybody has ever read it from cover to cover. There may have been someone, but it has explanations and pictures and things like that about for different kinds of escapements and just different things in there about it. And I really like it. Um, one, Jesus, Mm. This one is another one weighs a ton. It's called The Art of Breguet. Nothing about silicon hairsprings in the new Breguets that Swatch has been stuffing in them. This if you want to know about Breguets, this is a great book. About the only thing, see, this is what they have. Some of the Breguets that they make have a a rotor that looks something like this, one of the early rotors, and they have really cool. And then they stick in a silicon hairspring. Really disappointing. Now the thing about this book is that it's got a lot of information, but a lot of it is sort of like if you want to collect early Breguet watches that were made by Abraham Breguet, and then they have some other things that are about different kinds of. This just shows how a balance, might know a pallet fork and escapement wheel and different kinds of things like that. This, I believe, I think this book more than any other book influenced F.P. Journe more so than Watchmaking by George Daniels. The watchmaking book has a lot of surprises in it. Um, Among others, for example, George Daniels does. He said anybody who doesn't want a watch with a key windup doesn't deserve to have one because it because they lose your key. And I thought, holy smoke, what, that's. Let me see if I got some other one for beginners. A good. Hang on, let me get it here. Ah, yeah. This book by Ryan Schmidt is called the Wristwatch Handbook. It's getting a little dated now, but that's okay because it's got a lot of really good stuff in here for beginners. And I think if you want a good book on sort of like what to look for and things to consider and watches, this is a good starting point. Okay. Um, I have another book. Oh, I got a lot of them, but these are ones. This one about Derek Pratt. It's one of those books that is really a series of articles about Derek Pratt and a lot of the different things he did. He was a close friend of George Daniels, and he was English but lived in Switzerland. Um, his what he's probably best known for is some of the work that he did for Urban Jurgensen and uh, some of the movements and some of the different things that he did. So that's another. I mean, for sort of a book source. Most of the time, though, I'm just trying to find out about a watch, to see one, and I wonder about this watch, and so I start looking around and okay, let's see. What do you got here? Yeah, Tim's great, but he loves everything. Yeah. Well, what Tim's job is, and he does it better than anyone, is he's selling watches. Basically, they say, oh, the ones that they have for sale at oh, what's the name of the place? What's the name of the place at Watch something or other? Anyway, the place that he works for, he's selling for, and he does this. I've always said that they could give Tim twice what he earns, and he would be more than worth it. Um, so there's that. Hey, Mark, how you doing? Hi, Tuna. Hi, Lease Time. How are you guys? Watchbox. That's it. Thanks, Mark. Okay, the classic watch by Michael Balfour. How do you like that, Lee? That's one I don't know about, but it sounds interesting. Um, a lot of these big books, especially those big tomes by George Daniels, they're sort of like if I want to find out something about a movement or some one thing or the other, and you get into his George Daniels, like I said, he gets cranky sometimes about, wow, what about this? There's a book that's published by the Independent Watchmakers, the AHCI. Um, Let me see if I can find the name of that one. And um, a lot of people have told me, he said, boy, this is a really good book on sort of modern watchmaking. Hang on a second. Yeah, it's called The Independent Spirit. The makers since 1985. Time makers since 1985. This is published by the AHCI, the Académie Horloger des Créatures Indépendants, which I probably just murdered the French. It's 75 um, Swiss francs. I've heard it's a great book. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it. Another one that is supposed to be a lot of fun is the one by Vincent Calabrese, and he's really cranky. He talks about, you know, he has a lot of what some may consider to be gossip, but the way he handles it, not so much as gossip for gossip's sake, but rather because something was going on and he wants to tell people about it. Emperor Max, I've been after JLC Geophysics Universal time for a while, and Deadbeat Seconds, the Gyro Lab balance wheel, only 40 hours powers reserve would be a good deal breaker. 40 hours, no, 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 no. 40 hours is not a deal breaker. See, the thing is that, if you want a watch that's a nice, reliable watch, you can go and get a quartz watch that'll keep better time than just literally every mechanical watch. All right, purely mechanical watch. And so, if I have a watch that I like, and believe me, the geophysic is watches I absolutely love. 40 hours. Okay, what do? You wind it up in the morning, you got the next morning, you're still ticking. By the afternoon, it's pooped out. 40 hours is up. I don't know. That wouldn't kill me. A lot of my watches, I don't mind. I'd wind it up every morning if I had to. I've got no problem with that. Um, as a watch collector, now as a practical guy, I'd probably get. I have a couple. My Beauvais, 1930, and my H Moser. These are both hand wound. By the way, too, I do like hand wound watches a lot. Both of these are 7-day watches, so I wind it up on Monday and could use it for the whole week on both of them. So, but the ones you're talking about with the jumping seconds, great watches, and to me, it's a shame that they got rid of them. Um, So those aren't deal breakers. A lot of people have odd deal breakers. For example, I don't like um, stop seconds. Okay, like comes down and slams on your balance wheel and stops it, and then you can fix it with some time. Like, okay, man, we're gonna over the top and let's we'll start the artillery fire and let's synchronize our watches. I don't live in that. I don't want to either. I like an accurate watch, and I don't know. I'm just not crazy about stop seconds. Not a deal breaker. I got some great watches. My Urban Jorgensen, for example. Uh, so is my Langenheim. I think I got a lot of them that have what's called hacking or stop seconds. I don't like it. I really don't. Um, this one I have on FP Jorn. FP Jorn puts no stop seconds in his watches. He doesn't, because there was some time ago, the guy who was head of Patek Philippe was told by his engineers. He said this, the brake coming down to stop a balance wheel just isn't good for it. But I think there were enough people complained that they wanted a stop second, so they put it in for them. Okay, let's see what you got here. The Watch Gang. Yeah, Tim, the Watch Gang's got some good stuff. I like them too. Um, I don't know why, but at the moment, the Caliber de Cartier diver has me captivated. I the Caliber de Cartier is a nice caliber. I'm not positive, but I think that was won by that thing was developed by the award-winning watchmaker of the year, Carol Forestier Casapi, who's now making carbon-based springs for Tag Heuer. But I like that too. I think they were some of the early ones to come out. Um, Gregory, I highly recommend this one, Horological Alchemy by Den. Oh yeah, yeah. Den. He's not. It's. I'm gonna mispronounce his name. It's uh, Flagolet. He and F.P. Jorn and one other guy, I think, were the ones who started THA. That you can find some THA built ones around every now and then. How you doing, Brian? Good to see you. Um, we call that hacking. Yes, I know. Over at the children's table, they like to refer to stop seconds as hacking, Tim. Just giving you a hard time. Um, we're in the Tissot Heritage Petite Seconde right now. Wonderful watch. Wonderful. I love that watch. Mainly because I like the movement that they have in it. They show it to you. You can flip it over and see it in the back. It's a Unitas 6498. It's a great watch, a great buy. Anybody who doesn't have a ton of money, like oh, I don't know, somebody. Hey, Tanzil, what have you been up to? No good, I imagine. Let's see. Hacking was a deal breaker for the overseas. Well, the overseas, I think. I'm trying to think. When I had my overseas, I don't know whether it had hacking or not. Um, oh, I know, Lee. I would not tell him that at all. Okay, I see there are a bunch. The boozers have landed. Tim setting up a bar of emojis. What JLC do you like? I liked anything of the what was it called? The geophysic. That there, I think they only have three watches. One is was I think it's called the Geophysic 1958. Then they have the True Second, and then they have the World Timer. All of them I really like. I think some good buys on that is for the 1958. Uh, those watches I think are really good. Of course, they've taken them offline, but of course, you can find them. Chronoswiss old owner printed a book on chronograph, which is, from what I remember, Masters of Time. It could have been John. That there was a the Masters of Time. That whole series and that whole thing is a very interesting episode in the history of watch. Best watch for 20,000. Best watch. What I think is the best watch for 20,000. This was the best watch I got for 20,000. FP Jorn Chronomet Surveying. I don't know if you can still get them for that. I tell you who's got a whole series of watches that are right around that price is H. Moser. The one I like the best is that red H. Moser dual time. Beautiful watch with a heritage dial. That one I like a lot. Um, I just like their watches. One of the things, some of the best watches, and you'd never know this, have H. Moser Strassmann hairsprings in it. So that's one of those companies I think that is, I really have a lot of faith in. Same thing with Parmigiani. I know that they're not popular, but apparently, I guess they're coming back into our, let's say, not coming back to, they're sort of from never were. Let me tell you one. I shouldn't tell you this because I've been tempted to buy it myself. And this involves a scandal, naturally. During the World Cup in some 2004 or 5, sometime in that period, Parmigiani had a deal with FIFA, the organizing body for the World Cup, and that was the year they had it in Brazil, and so they had this special Pershing with the special dial on it, and they had a series of stars representing all the World Cups that Brazil had won. By the way, Brazil, for those of you who still have teams that are left over in the World Cup, uh, Croatia knocked off Brazil in this last one, which was a big surprise. I don't know who's playing now, but good luck for your team, whoever it is. We got knocked out by the Netherlands, and the Netherlands lost to somebody, I think, recently. So, but that's another thing. If stop seconds is bad for the movement, it would seem pausing, stalling the hand until a seconds match would also be bad for the movement. I don't know how you'd pause it, Brian. Um, this was something. Well, I mean, you could somehow wind it until the seconds was right at the top of the second and then stop it. Um, I don't know. It simply was something that the engineers told. I forget what his name was, the guy who was head of Patek Philippe at one time. But like I said, they've come back with it, and some of my favorite watches have uh, what what the children's table calls hacking. In other words, the stop seconds. But FP Journe doesn't. You know. Hey, Tim and Mark, why don't you guys take a look at your FP Journes? You've got them lined up. You should have them on right now because otherwise you shouldn't be coming to this this elevated discussion without your FP Journes on. And you pull out the thing and see if they stop. And I don't think they will unless they change. Oh yeah, reverse the crown. No, you're right, Brian. That is not good. I don't trust that at all. Yeah, nope. I tell you, like, I got my iPhone here, and wait until the iPhone, I pull the old plug on the thing and then move. And when the second hand hits where I want it, I'll pull the plug out and wait until there's a time change, and then just push it in. That's close enough for me. Um, Implants. Hi, Todd Kennedy. How you doing? All right. What are some other ideas? Oh, the best watch equal 22 um 22 lyric. I agree. You're not going to get an argument for me on that one on the Etude number 1. Man, I tell you, getting that thing finished up has been a challenge. There was some jerk put the picture of our watch on a milk carton. It said, "Oh, it's missing." Nah, it's I don't know. I guess that's sort of because it was stalled by the fact that Wooten, Lannon, and Caton had to get a special milling device because we had such a complicated case that was designed by this wonderful designer that we had, Matu Allegri. And so he has this, and I thought, well, what's so hard about that? Try milling that, and I guess it is hard. The ones they got out early, I got one, and so did I got one for the Watch Time show, and we got one for Vincent for the Grand Prix awards, and you know, we're we're sort of like I got a thing from Ariel Adams saying, "No, well, go ahead. You can go ahead and send me one." What do you mean send you one? They're all sold out. I got one right now, and we're not going to have the rest until later this month or perhaps even January. A big problem what we ran into everybody goes on vacation. And so unless we get the things in the shipping before then, it'll be January. Yeah. How you doing, Eric? Did- Hey, Rancher. Oh man, we're frying pan time. Okay, guys. All right, guys. Well, listen. I found a watch that I really like. I'm gonna have it on Monday's Best Pocket video, but it's really interesting. It's a German watch, well priced, well made, and I think you're gonna like it. And it's got an interesting. I don't know how much I want to tell you about the movement. One thing about it, though, I will tell you, it's got a 18,000 VPH movement, semi oscillations per hour. I think you guys are gonna like it. In the meantime, take care and see you next week.